Hello, everybody. My name is Len Baer. Today is another Sunday, June 11th, and that means that we're going to give you an update on the historic case, Targeted Justice versus Garland. And with me, as every Sunday, is plaintiff's attorney, Ana Toledo, who refers to herself as a failed experiment. I refer to her as a woman warrior. Without any further ado, Ana, good morning.
Good morning, Glenn. Hey, Glenn, let me tell you something. I am very proud. The only thing I am proud of being a failure is this experiment. Because this I got from Melanie from Ecuador. That's what, her V2K tells her, you failed experiment. And I'm proud of that because we are all experiments and we are evidence that their program failed. And that's why I'm so proud of it. It's the only thing I'm proud to be, a failure in. But we are all superhuman, and that's one of the things I want to talk about today, how being failed experiments make us such amazing people.
That's so true. And the fact that we're a failed experiment, it means that they need to experiment even more. So it will be to improve that mind control power, there's neurological effect, neurological biosurveillance, psyops, you name it, all of it. Before we start with today's update, I want to say a few words about the case. When I talk about Targeted Justice v. Garland, I always refer to it as historic. And some might think of it as puffery. And it's not, and this is why. The core issue in this case is so fundamental and applies to every American. So any of you may one day find yourself on this secret watch list that FBI would put you on using some secret criteria that they can't even share with the public, which goes against our fundamental constitutional right, the due process clause. And it's pretty important right, because it's not only mentioned in one amendment, but in two, in the fourth and in the fifth and 14th. And it prohibits the deprivation of life, liberty, property, or property by federal and state government, respectively, without due process of law. So this is the core of our fight. Yes, we experience torture, we experience this enhanced neurological surveillance, psyops, intimidation, intimidation, and what was the other one? And all of the above. So, but that's the second tier of our pleading. The first fundamental tier of our pleading is that we've been put on this list unconstitutionally, and that can happen to anyone. This is why it's so fundamental, and this is why it's historic. So with that, Ana, please tell us what's been going on this week. This is a week 24 update for this historic lawsuit.
Thank you, Lennon. And you're so right. The historic part also is that over 200 TI lawsuits everywhere have been dismissed. And the difference that this case has is that it's based on constitutional rights, because people have been secretly and illegally been placed in this list that doesn't allow for innocent people to be in. We have mentioned that it is a continuation, obviously, of the MK Ultra and the COINTELPRO. And I want to read a little bit of the COINTELPRO was operated from, it's an FBI, for those of you that don't know, it's an FBI program that operated from 1956 to 1971. The FBI, it is estimated that only 8% of the activity they carried out was legal. 8%. That's probably a little bit more than it's legal in what they're doing here, you know. Louis Freeh, before Congress, says that they engaged in egregious illegal action, maybe criminal action. This is in the year 2000. And they're doing it again, okay? Because they come into the houses to do, I don't know if you've heard about the sneak and peeks. They come into your house without a warrant. They just look around, they shake things around, and it's perfectly legal, and that has got to stop. The COINTELPRO was geared primarily at the Black Panthers in the United States in that time. And I'm going to read a little bit about a case that had to do with people that were persecuted by the FBI under COINTELPRO, okay? And after I read it, and I'm gonna save the for last where this came from. It says nothing is, and this just goes to the gist of what they're doing to targeted individuals. Nothing is more valued to an upright man than his dignity and reputation in the community. If these unlawful or immoral actions put his dignity and reputation at stake, he must answer to his conscience, next of kin, and fellow human beings. And in this case, he would be subject to the pertinent civil and penal sanctions. But should his dignity and reputation be unlawfully touched by the government simply because he exercised his fundamental rights as guaranteed by the Constitution, his innermost being must have an avenue for redress to repair the damage done to his dignity and honor. In our democratic system of government, it is incumbent upon the courts to address such claims and to design remedies to mitigate the irreparable harm caused to a citizen by reason of the government's outrages. That is the introduction of one COINTELPRO case that was filed. But the interesting is they filed it under the guise against the government, and it was the government of Puerto Rico, where there were a lot of people that were in the pro-independence movement, and so FBI did a lot of illegal things there, and FBI funded the redress, the compensation to the victims of that program. But these people were persecuted, and they were chased, they were followed, their lives, they couldn't get jobs like targeted individuals, okay? Their lives, they were defamed, their lives were not whole. And this case, which was a 1988 case, it was Noriega versus Hernández Colón, which was then governor. They don't mention the FBI, except within the case, they talk about COINTELPRO and the FBI. Now, because these cases didn't have criminal repercussions, which is one of the things that we need to fight for, they continued. They were repackaged into the targeted individual program. And that is like one of the things that, even though I forgot to mention in the beginning, we didn't do any filings this week, because even though I was planning on filing the reply this week, I'm going to have to do it this coming week, because it's been, I had the Mike Adams interview, I had the Sean Stone interview, I had to prepare for, and I want to commend them on their bravery, because as you know, not many people have the bravery to cover our case, because I think, a lot of probably, I don't know, they get intimidated, a lot of people in the mainstream media or even alternative media, they get intimidated and threatened and they don't cover it. So I urge everybody to go and see both interviews. You tweeted both. But this week we will do a filing on that. I want to comment on two really important things for our case that transpired in the news. If you could do the honors and put the first clip, Len, that I sent you.
Most certainly.
At illegal immigration, let's look at CBP encounters. You can see 500,000, 500,000, it drops to the lowest level, and boom, what happens? You show up. And that red line is you. That red line is Joe Biden. And you're claiming nothing happened. Oh gosh, this was here before us. No, you made the decision to allow this to happen. What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. Mr. Secretary, you have just testified to the American people you're incompetent at your job, because I've been to the southern border, and if you go to the southern border, along the southern border, you see thousands of these wristbands because the illegal immigrants wear them. The drug cartels, every color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. You've turned these cartels into multi-billion-dollar criminal organizations, and these are modern day leg irons because these are children being sold into sex slavery, and you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing. Mr. Secretary, I want to say to you right now, your behavior is disgraceful, and the deaths, the children assaulted, the children raped, they are at your feet, and if you had integrity, you would resign. In fact, if you look at illegal immigration, let's look
That's
I
it.
think that start playing.
Yeah, it was in a loop. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to comment a few things, even though our case doesn't directly entail illegal immigration. It's very significant that there are being no controls at the border regarding terrorists and people coming in. However, they are obsessed, FBI defendants are obsessed with domestic terrorists. Okay, so you see there the hypocrisy of the two rulers with which they're measuring things. The American citizens, the legal residents, the people that abide by the law are being declared domestic terrorists in this swelled list, yet one of our defendants is allowing people to just freely walk in and no consequence whatsoever. People should know this is not about politics, okay? This is not that one is Republican, one is Democrat. No, this is about substantial justice. This is about who is incurring in the malfeasance and who is acting correctly. And clearly, the reason why we brought Mr. Mayorkas and the other defendants as defendants of this case, because otherwise we would have been frivolous, right? The reason they are in this case is because they have not acted pursuant to the law, and they are not, and they insist in not acting pursuant to the law because they insist on this, on this McCarthy list to persecute people. So people, it is very important that people detach themselves from their, political beliefs and affiliations and look at the facts, which is while people are being freely let in and everybody come in and there's a party, American citizens, American taxpayers, legal residents are being included in this list and persecuted and stalked and attacked with, as we know. So that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. The other one is the article that I sent you the link to include in the show notes. Actually the 9th, there was a news article saying how the Pentagon targets congresswomen as security threats. And it goes to talk about, how the Pentagon is doing little dossiers on Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert saying that, reading their social media and saying that they are security threats. Well, one of our advisory board's members that we both know who she is, was kicked out of an Airbnb the day after she checked in. She had stayed there already one night because she was called exactly that, a security threat. And I know I have mentioned this before, but I think that the people, the criminals behind this program, okay, they jacked up the volume on it, and they are going after people that are, targeted individuals, and making it harder for them, declining their credit cards, kicking them out of Airbnbs, doing things that they weren't doing before. I don't know if it's to justify that they're terrorists or not. I mean, but ultimately, it's about the dossier that, in this case that I read to you from, they had to give back the plaintiffs. It was a class action lawsuit, and they had to give the dossiers to each and every one of them. There was a process by which people went and got all their file and the pictures of them drinking coffee here and meeting with so-and-so. And that the FBI had to do. They had to give up those files. It is my hope that that's, one of the things that we get to accomplish in this case, to get the dossiers on each and every TI and get them to get redress, not just for the illegal surveillance on them on violation of the Fourth Amendment, but also what followed, what transpired after the surveillance, and the classifying of them as a domestic terrorist. And there's just one more thing that I wanted to, since we don't have updates on the case, but this is really something very important that I wanted to address. There is two things. One is about transparency. Since I got here, we have been working, I have been working hard to get targeted justice in GuideStar, which is, it's a webpage, it's an entity that has all the financials and all the information of 501c3 corporations, so that people can see where their money is going and how their money is being donated. As most people know, but whoever doesn't know, they should know. Nobody at Targeted Justice earns a salary. All the people that answer emails and work, and all of us that work here, we don't earn a salary. So the donations that we are receiving are being saved for the payment of the experts we will need in court, because this has a component which is highly technical, and even though we have been actively looking for experts, but it's my hunch that the government is interfering with that. In due time, if we have to ask the court to order an expert, well, we will turn to that if we need to go to those extremes. We have unsuccessfully tried to get an accountant. Like, when we approach accountants, they have to be CPAs to do the documents. IRS, for example, IRS went after Matt Taibbi at the day he was testifying in Congress, right? Well, when we try to file our forms, they're like, no, you cannot file that form because this is the form you have to file, even though that's not the form. Targeted Justice is a 501c3 corporation. It's not a foundation. Well, they're saying, no, you have to do that. So we tried to get an accountant, and a couple of them turned us down, because as soon as they saw our webpage, they said, no, we don't want to work for you. I think targeted individuals can relate to this. It's a very difficult thing, because we are denied services that we're going to pay for them. It's not like we want them to be done for free, but people just don't want to have to do with targeted. They don't have the courage, let's put it that way. Just like many journalists are being stood up after being confirmed an interview, That's why, I have to commend Sean and Mike, because mainstream media is very scared, and so are people that provide services to us. That's, targeted justice for 5 years tried to get an attorney, and even targeted attorneys didn't want to take this on because they were scared. So I just want to assure everybody out there that, I am here to make sure the government and the defendants, nobody can have any dirt on us, or because we are doing everything so straight and so kosher and so by the book, and they are trying to make us not make things by the book by not letting people work for us. I think we finally got a company that is willing. We have bookkeepers, but they're not accountants. They're not CPAs. So the bookkeepers are doing the bookkeeping, but I think we finally got an accountant firm, and we're going to be, hopefully within the next 2 months, be within GuideStar, because the support from the community, the unity the community has achieved is unique. It's the first time, I think, in the history of the targeting, when people started getting together, it's the first time there is so much unity. And of course, there's going to be people that are going to be the naysayers and the Debbie Downers. And to them, I tell you, if you want to be targeted for life, that's, your prerogative. But this community is uniting because this is the first real meaningful opportunity to set us free. And it is not because, I have these videos of my targeting. No, it's because it's based on a constitutional right to not be deemed a domestic terrorist or terrorist if we're not. Okay, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, and now we have the backing of a Supreme Court case saying that you cannot tell third parties that a person is a terrorist when they're not. Okay, so I really, my plea to those people that are going around with, like this dark cloud around them saying like, no, we're never going to be free. They're just, being BS. First of all, are you an attorney? Second of all, do you know constitutional law? Third of all, did you read the Second Amendment complaint? Fourth of all, did you read this TransUnion versus Ramirez case? If you ask those questions, the person will say no. And so then you cannot give an opinion as to, no, we will not accomplish our goal of being free, because that is a basic human right and it cannot be denied. And as I read, that's why you go to courts. You go to courts to have your rights vindicated. One last thing, I know you have some questions, but one last thing I want to mention is this. You can look it up in 4 Federal 4th 63. I think it's a case. Yeah, it's 63. 4 Federal 463. Cebollero Beltran versus Praza, which is the case. It was a 2021 case that I argued before the First Circuit Court of Appeals, and I prevailed. And it's a citizen suit case about under the Clean Water Act, because Puerto Rico has a huge problem with sanitary overflows and whatever. The reason I bring it up is this, because I want everybody in the community to be certain that whether it is us or the government that prevails at the district court level, either one is going to go to the Fifth Circuit. I am absolutely certain of that. Okay, so nobody should be discouraged, because, as I said, I am very I am working very hard and very confident. I would never sign a pleading if I wasn't certain, because it would be unethical of me to do so. I would never sign a pleading that I am not absolutely sure that what is contained in it is the truth, and that the law supports my contention. Otherwise, I would be subjected to sanctions under the rules of Civil Procedure Rule 11, which is, sanctions against the attorney that signs a document knowing that there's false information in there. And I'm very proud to say that I don't think I've ever done that, because I just have to make sure, because I am very jealous, I take very much care of my license because it's my means of earning a living. Okay. And this license here and this work I'm doing is not for me, it's for 6 million people. So those 6 million people have become more important than myself. And so I want people to be very convinced on this, okay? Because there's things I have no control of, but I have control of the work I do and of the product I bring out. So that's why, Richard Lighthouse told me to please emphasize this to the community, that, this case, for example, Ceballero, we lost at a district court level. And when we went to the circuit, the win was so amazing that it created law for the entire nation. And and I'm really proud of it. It just so happens the next day that this case came out, they pulled the rug from under me and my life became horrible. Okay. But I'm very proud of it. And so I want you to know that I have the experience that when we need to go to the circuit, it'll be done, and it'll be done elegantly, efficiently, professionally. Okay. So that's Len. That was my report for now. If you have any questions.
Oh, I absolutely do. Anna, we all awaiting your motion to dismiss the motion to your opposition to motion to dismiss. Legalese is not my native language. So, and I'm sure that you will articulate in the right words, because you always find a way to express yourself that really touches you on a personal level. It touches what it is to be an American, what it is to be a part of this unique nation that has these inalienable rights, the outlined in the Declaration, outlined in the Constitution. And when you see this motion, this latest motion from attorney in the individual capacity, and they all of a sudden they claim some legal immunity. Legal immunity from what? From breaking the law. There's no law. There's no congressional. It's either Constitution or the Congress. They make the law, and there's no law saying that if you run this agency and on your watch you are knowingly breaking the law, you're immune. That is just nonsensical. So I am waiting. I will read every word, and I find your writing inspirational, emotional, heartfelt, genuine, direct, and all of the above. But my question is for that's in the future. That's this coming week. But my question is about your active media calendar this week. You appeared on 2 major shows, Mike Adams and Sean
Stone.
Sean Stone, thank you. And they both impressed me in a different way. Mike's show on Brighter on TV impressed me how much he just got it, immediately got what it's all about. He did not need that special explanation. When you start talking about somebody on the street, let's say, about who targeted individuals are and how their rights have been deprived, it's a lengthy conversation. With Mike Adams, he just got it immediately, and that made that conversation so productive. With Sean, I was impressed how personable you were, that you connected what you're doing with your own emotions. It was raw, it was very real. We saw Ana Toledo in basically in her best emotional moments of clarity and truth. And so I want to applaud. I would like applaud you for that effort. And so I would like to comment. I would like you to comment on those. And finally, I know that you also had a Spanish-speaking Twitter space this week, and I would like to know how it went. So, long question, 3-part answer, please, Ana.
Yeah, well, it was a great experience. You summarized it so well, because Mike, it's a challenge when you are talking to somebody who is so smart, because it's like, yeah, he gets it. He hadn't really read the lawsuit or anything, before we spoke, and he just he just knew everything. And I was so impressed with how his command of the information. He's just so well read, and he's so up to that's his job. And he was so on point, and he got it. And the most important thing is for both of them is that in the beginning of the interview, they hadn't realized how important this case is. And towards the end, they were like, oh my God, this can change the future of our nation. And you see, you and I share something. You're native Russian. I'm a native Puerto Rican, and even though we're both American citizens, I am by birth an American citizen, and you're a naturalized citizen. I passionately love this nation. I get goosebumps, I get goosebumps, and and even though I'm Puerto Rican, I am pro statehood, and the reason for that is because of the environmental statutes, because of the regulatory thing, because I love my island. And right now, whoever sees the news, if you leave it to the local people, they will totally destroy whatever little is left. In fact, that case that I won in the First Circuit was against the Puerto Rico Sewage and Water Authority. They relentlessly do overflows of sewage, and they don't care. And it's a Puerto Rican monopoly of the water company. So that's why my political beliefs as a pro-statehood are because I love the environment, and I love my island so much, and I want to protect it. And the only way to protect it is through RCRA and CERCLA, Clean Water Act, Clean Air Act. And what I see, what's happening is that as long as Puerto Rico is not, and this is not a state, we're not going to get equal treatment. So going back to Mike, I'm sorry for my digression, but for me, it's just so crucial that the love of this nation and the respect we have for the democratic principles that are at its foundation, at the Constitution, at the Declaration of Independence, that is what is being betrayed in this targeted program. And that's why Congress has to look into this. Congress has to defund this and just go to to the gist of it. Mike was so challenging, and then I think that he got out there the word of the urgency of this lawsuit. I think he really conveyed how urgent and important this is. Sean was also very equally brave, and his intelligence comes through in his compassion and and he's just so personable and so compassionate, and so worried also about what's good, about what is the right thing. And so it was a real pleasure talking to him, because I think that a lot of targeted individuals forget that I am also a TI. And as I have probably, I don't know if I've mentioned it before you, but I did mention it yesterday in the conference, in the Spanish conference, that I heard a keynote speech by Captain Sully, and how he says that when you are in a situation where you have to take care of other people, you have to not dwell on your situation, because there's a responsibility you have to do for other people. And that's how I feel right now. I cannot give myself the luxury of dwelling in, and I confess I sometimes think about it, but on the things that have happened to me, because that takes time away and energy away from my goal, from my responsibility, from my job, which is setting all of us free. Okay, so in that sense, I did let in with, it was shown a little bit of my own thing, because he asked about it, but I just hope that when we triumph and when we are set free, I would only want to look back so that it's never repeated in history, what has been done to me, because and I want targeted individuals to know something. I have had the privilege, working for Targeted Justice, to read the emails from so many people, and it is so atrocious what is done on different levels to so many people. It is so atrocious what they do to you, Len, what they do to many of our plaintiffs, what they do to people that are not part in this lawsuit. But people should have the sensibility to know that you are not the most targeted person in the world. I was that arrogant when I got here. I was that arrogant, and I would tell Richard, I would say, you understand, I am the most targeted person in the world. And when you start learning about the plight of other people, you become more humble about it. And I just urge people to be sensitive about it, that there are people that are suffering immensely, but they are quiet and they're not talking about it. And they're being tortured incredibly, and they don't talk about it. So a Spanish conference yesterday, it was really nice. We did a simultaneous phone conference and Twitter. Okay, we asked for patience because there was a little lag, but it went really well. We had people from Chile, we had people from Spain, and then there was other people that I think wanted to talk but couldn't get to talk. Devin was doing the admin, and even though she doesn't know Spanish, well, we pretty much managed it, and it is my intention to repeat it every Saturday, because I believe there is a great need in the Spanish-speaking community to learn about everything that is going on, from shielding techniques to the updates in the case. It was funny because Devin says the tone of the call was so different from those that, for example, the ones she manages. People were, they were very respectful, and nobody talked over anybody else. It was a very good experience. It's very sad to know that the targeting in Latin America is spreading like wildfire, and we have to stop this. I explained to them the repercussions of this case, and what we intend, what we want to do eventually. We're not going to leave anybody behind. Even if, in this case, one of the remedies we're seeking is a court monitor that will have access to the TSEB roster, and for people, if they get stalked, if they get attacked, if they, once this this, once we prevail, for a court monitor to ensure that this does not continue like MK Ultra continued and like COINTELPRO continued. Okay, so the only way, and this is what I emphasize to the Spanish speaking community, the only way we can fully succeed is with the union of everybody. We're joining forces with ICATOR, and some of members of VIATEC from Spain were present in the call, and it is through the unity. And I have to emphasize this to the people here in the United States, that unity of the community is essential to make a united front against these very powerful enemies. We are making huge dents on their program, and it's little by little that we're doing it, but a united community is what's going to do it.
I absolutely agree. Unity is our strength.
Yes.
Divided we fall, united we win. I probably paraphrase this famous phrase in my own way. I know how important that Spanish conference was for you, and I commend you for doing this for Spanish speaking community. I wish I was speaking Spanish, because I would definitely help you to reach out to do the more legwork, more community communication.
We need that. We need
We need
TIs that are bilingual to get those that are not bilingual, include them. I don't know how to go about that, but we really need it because we're doing it because we want to help. We need these people. I could hear in their voice their desperation, their frustration, and I want people to know that there's not only hope, but there is a very good possibility of ending this sooner than later. But I need to get the word out there, and for them to start giving away flyers. I want also to get, for those people listening that can help us translate, because I have a lot of work, but if people could help us translate the Substack newsletters, volunteers, and also the flyers, so that we can put them in the page. Even, the webpage is so large, but we can make maybe a little Spanish webpage for people to get the most important resources, like on V2K, on the DO attacks, because that information is really important for people that just don't know what's going on with them.
What I noticed is about the flyers is, and I've seen the flyers put out by Target Justice. They're very informative. They're well referenced. The entire website is just a tremendous resource of information. But what's different between the flyers before 2023 and since 2023 is that we have this lawsuit, which is a tangible, achievable, specific, concrete goal that we can all unite around. And I ask every targeted individual, please follow the case. Understand that this is the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. We have something so real. This is something, it's something that cannot be simply swept under the rug or dismissed. And if it's dismissed, then we will go straight to the next level.
Yes.
To the Fifth Circuit, and after that, Supreme Court, all the way. We are not going to give up. This is the fight that we've committed to. I personally committed to. I know your level of commitment, Anna. And so we are just going to push and push and push, no matter how hard it gets. We're just going to keep pushing. And now we can unite around this case that gives us real hope, not just hypothetical hope that, oh, maybe some congressman will pay attention and bring it to the floor and read it, and half of the Congress is on vacation, and the other half is asleep. So no, we will get this in front of the judge. We will have an oral argument. We will have a jury of our peers, and we will have our day in court as guaranteed by our Constitution. So yes, this is a message of optimism. This is a message of hope. And this is a message when you're so desperate, as you described that a lot of people are, and you and I understand why. A lot of people can't understand why are you so desperate, because it's a lifelong torture. There's no moment of your life that you are not somehow influenced, manipulated, especially given these advanced neuroweapon machines, and now nanotechnology. I mean, it goes and goes on and on, and you are in the middle of it, and you get so desperate. I want you not to lose hope. I want to think that you are a part of the best of humanity. And this is a fight for humanity. And this is a fight for the American Constitution that gave us these incredible rights that we must enjoy, that the government cannot take it away from us. This is not what the government do. So let's read the Declaration of Independence and see what the government, the only thing that the government should do is make sure that we can pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, period. So with this optimistic message, Anna, would you like to say anything at the end?
Well, the only thing is this: if we weren't over the target, and excuse the pun, they wouldn't have jacked up the attacks as they have on everybody. They are suffering. They don't know what to do because they know that we are on to ending this horrible torture program, and they are trying to hold on to it like dear life. If our case wasn't meaningful, and if our case wasn't important, and if our case didn't mean a real opportunity to end with this program, they wouldn't have bothered to being attacking people that are supporting it. They attack people that support it because they know we are over the target, and we're going to end it. Like you say, even if we have to go all the way to the Supreme Court, we will end it.
Tremendous message. Thank you, Anna. And yes, to finish this off, I prepared a little story for you. I want you to know who Peter Buxton is. You might or you might not have heard the name, but this is a gentleman who was a whistleblower in the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. He was a native of Czech Republic. He was only 27. He is still alive. He is about 87 years old. He ended an experimentation on African-American males that was run by CDC. Imagine that. To see what happens to African-American males infected but not treated with syphilis. And they were duped. They were basically offered in Alabama, in this county, they were offered free health care, but that what they were really offered is a participation in a lifelong experiment. Now imagine the year's 2023, and you are an experimental subject in a government-run program to refine and finesse neuroweapons. Just like those people in the Tuskegee experiment. So what we need our own Peter Buxton, a man of integrity, who I can only describe as a hero. Who will it be? Will it be Dr. Giordano? I don't know. But whoever you are, and if you're listening to this message, please think of Peter Buxton. And Peter, if you are listening to this, I would absolutely love to talk to you and have our viewers to see that interview. And I would like to end with these words. This is a part of the President Clinton's address when he apologized to American public for the Tuskegee experiment. Listen what he said. The United States government did something that was wrong, deeply, profoundly, morally wrong. It was an outrage to our commitment to integrity and equality for all citizens. What was done cannot be undone, but we can end the silence. We can stop turning our heads away. We can look at you in the eye and finally say on behalf of the American people, what the United States government did was shameful, and I am sorry. Thank you for watching. Next Sunday, we will be here again to give you a legal update. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose belief in humanity. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Len.
I'm trying to stop recording. Okay.